You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different? Man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro. Don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all these positions, they come in millions. They blocking your vision, but no, you can't listen. That shit is...
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to Tap In. We are OneOOne. I'm your host, Andy Danchuk, and I'm here with my co-hosts and business partners, Sean Fry and James Black. What's going on, boys?
Oh, fuck me. It's going good. It's going good.
Somebody can't talk today. How we doing?
How we doing? It is your responsibility to tap in into information that is going to benefit you and your life. This podcast will hopefully expand your thinking so that you can finally take control. So what's going on, boys? How's it fucking going?
I'm doing great.
I'm tired.
My New Year's awesome. I don't know about you guys. How are you feeling?
I'm with Andy. I'm definitely tired today. I feel out of it right now. I'm not going to lie. I think that breakfast is fucking
put me to bed.
French toast. Yeah, I think it put me to bed. But
Hella
once we get
food.
into it, I think I'm going to wake up. Yeah, we ate a lot.
All right, we got a good one for you today. It's a little bit more structured. We actually have a topic that we've spoke some things about, and we know what we want to talk to you about. So today we're going to talk about focus. So where do we even start? Because we could go down a lot of holes here. But focus, basically, focus. When you are focused and you're thinking about the right things. Now, what do you focus on? We could use examples of a goal you set. Let's say a goal you set in the gym necessarily. When you're focused on the goal you want to get. So basically you set a goal in the gym, right? Let's say your goal is to, most people to lose weight. You know, most people, they go to the gym to lose weight. Some people go to the gym to gain weight. It depends on your goals at the time, but we'll focus on losing weight because I think that's a majority of what people struggle with. So when you're focused on losing weight, you have to give up a lot of things to lose weight and a lot of things that you're comfortable with in the beginning. So let's say you set the goal to lose weight, you start going to the gym, and you're focused on everything that you have to give up. You're focused on giving up the food, your favorite foods to eat, your cheat meals, McDonald's, pizza, all this stuff that you're so used to and you love, and it's your comfort. You're focused on what you have to give up, watching TV, sitting on the couch, being lazy. No, you have to get up and start doing things. So your focus is on all the things that you have to give up. So what is that doing to your mind? It's basically holding your mind in a state where you're only thinking about everything that you're losing. But your goal to lose weight should have you focused on everything you're going to gain. When you lose weight, think of the confidence you're going to gain. Think of how much happier, how much more energy you're going to have. Think of how you're going to feel when you get to see your body looking like you've always wanted to see your body. So when we say focus, where is your focus? We want you to be focused on the things that are going to benefit you in the end. We don't want you to be focused on the things that you have to give up, because your mind, just the way it works, how we know it works, if you're focused on what you're giving up, that means all you're thinking about is pizza, is burgers, is McDonald's, is the hard work. And that's not...
Eventually you're going to give in. That's
yeah,
just what
dude,
happens.
that's not appealing. And eventually you're going to give in to pizza, burgers, McDonald's, and the laziness, the sitting on the couch, because one, you're already accustomed to and used to it, and two, that's where your focus is. So what you're focused on is what you're going to get. It's what you're thinking about most of the time. And people don't realize you are in control of these thoughts, what you're thinking of. So stop thinking about what you're losing and start thinking about what you're going to gain.
Yeah, whether you whether you are aware of it or not, your thoughts will become action eventually. So if you're thinking, even if you're thinking like, I can't eat this pizza, I can't eat this pizza, I can't eat this pizza.
Still thinking pizza.
You're thinking pizza. You're eventually
you're
gonna fucking cave. You're gonna eat pizza. It's just like your body doesn't, like your mind it doesn't know the can't part. All it's thinking about is pizza. So you're constantly thinking about that pizza, thinking about those cheat meals. Eventually, you're just going to cave. And it's kind of what happens. I have a lot of background in this because of, like, my body, like, the past few years I've been bodybuilding and stuff like that. And when I first started bodybuilding, my focus was always on, I want to suffer more than anyone else. Like, I enjoyed that suffering. That's where my focus was, which was awesome because I focused on the things I would do that no one else would do. So, like, doing crazy cardio sessions that I knew no one else was doing. Like, that was where all that stuff was where what I want to do is what I knew was going to separate
Let me ask you something. While doing all that, even though you were kind of somewhat focused on the suffering and you enjoyed that, but that's just you. That's just you're fucking sick in the head. But you were focused on what you were going to gain if you put yourself through that. You weren't focused on all the pain and all the shit you had to give up to go through it.
Nah.
You were like, motherfucker, if I do this and why I'm doing this is because why? It's going to turn me into a savage. It's going to get me to my end goal that I know I want.
Literally something that always played through my mind was every time that I was hurting, like, there's been times where I straight up blacked out on the little cycle bike doing cardio. And my thought process behind all that was, I'm going to win this show because I'm doing shit. I want it worse than anyone else. And I'm focused on, like, I will fucking hurt myself more than anyone else will to get this shit. And that was amazing. That's what I'm saying. In the beginning of it, it was amazing. And then there's been times, and since I've kind of stepped back from bodybuilding now, the last, like, few years, or not really few years because I only bodybuilded for 4 years, but the last, say, year, my focus stopped going from how much I could suffer to how much I didn't want to suffer. And that was kind of a demise to me. Even though my last show was my best showing, prior to that, I fell off for a long time because I focused solely on all the work that had to be done, all the things that I didn't want to do anymore, all the sacrifices I didn't want to make. I got
all the things you had to give up to make it happen.
That's where my mind went, and it honestly
made it hard.
ruined. Yeah, it made it.
And you didn't do it.
I didn't. Yeah, I eventually I pushed through it for a long time, but it made me hate the fucking sport, and that's why I took a step back from it because I was like, I don't enjoy this anymore, and I know there will be a time when it's something I really want again. I'll try and go for my pro card and shit, but it just became a second job that I didn't want to do. Every day I thought about shit like, I need to go to the gym and absolutely kill myself. Like, I knew what I had to go.
Your focus was in the wrong place.
Yeah. Instead of going to the gym, be like, yo, I'm going to kill myself because this is what's going to make me look like and have that vision of what I want to do.
It wasn't there anymore.
It wasn't there anymore. And it honestly, it just made me hate the sport and all. And it was solely because where I put my mind.
Yeah.
And you know what? That's actually, like, to hear that and actually have seen you in the gym before we even actually connected, like, and then to see you at your show before we even actually connected as well is kind of crazy because you wouldn't even tell that that's how, you know, you were thinking before or after. You just look motivated. From an outside perspective, you just look focused on.
You don't know what people are dealing with.
You're right. What I'm trying to say is you don't know what people are going through. So from my perspective,
he looked like he had it
in the zone, on like doing.
But
what
he was nowhere
doing,
near it.
But he wasn't. And
nowhere near.
It's just crazy that that's even possible. So again, remember, you never know what anyone's going through. So, you know, just put this out there. Be nice to everybody, because at any time that can change. But back to topic. For me, focus comes into, and I relate it more to like riding my bike. Because that was like the past couple of days I've been just riding as much as I can and trying to learn new shit. And I've been able to do like tricks like tail whips and bar spins and shit like that because I've been riding forever. But I guess not riding consistently, let's say, over the past 6 or 7 years really took a toll. Because can I still throw it? Nice. Does it look good and consistent? Yes. But can I land it? No. And like that's where the focus comes in. Like our one dude said, like I had to get back to the basics. I had to go back to the balance. Go back to finding where my bars were, finding where my foot placement
the way
was.
Your body is over the bars, where your head placement is,
all
where your shoulder
shit.
Placement is, where your elbows are, all these small but
just to get back to like one simple trick. I mean, it's not simple. It's pretty difficult, but in the world of BMX, it's something that, you know,
but when you break it down,
most people want to do. But when you break it down, it's pretty simple. So like yesterday, I was trying 180 bar spins up a bank. And I was just getting worked. Like, I kept getting thrown off the bike, missing the bars, landing on my ass. And then eventually I landed it. And it all came from the criticism from the day before because I couldn't land my whips. And my buddy was like, listen, like, you have good whips. They look good. And, Like, you want to put your feet on, but I think your problem is you're not focused on the pedals. You're not focused where your feet are going. You're too focused on
Everything
what's
else.
gonna go wrong
Yeah.
versus what is going right, and you're just not putting your feet back on because you're over the bike. You have good placement. Everything's where it should be. You're just
already
not
throwing
putting your
the whip,
feet on.
you
So I
know?
just applied that to the next day, which was yesterday, on my 180 bars, and I was able to pull it off like 2 times in a row. I focused on the bar spin and catching my bars more than worrying about my turn and if I'm gonna fall again or like what the next consequence was, and I was able to pull it off. So for me, that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that feels good. And we can relate this back to riding dirt bikes. I've raced dirt bikes for a minute, and one thing that is consistently said when riding, and dude, it is crucial. Where are you looking? Now, when you're riding a dirt bike, when you're riding anything, but I'm just going to keep this on dirt bike terms because it's what I know and what I understand. It's what's going to be easier for me to explain. But when we're riding and we're coming around, we're going fast through trails, whatever we are on a motocross track, we're coming in through a turn. If I'm staring at one spot in this turn and I get up to this turn and I continue to stare at that one spot, I'm most likely going to go down because by the time I get to that spot, I'm looking at the ground. I'm not looking ahead at where I'm going. So my body and my mind doesn't know anything other than where I'm looking. So I'm looking at the ground. Where am I going to go? I'm going to go to the fucking ground. Like, it's so weird how it looks if you just keep your head up and continue to look forward, even when, like, and that's the hardest thing to do when on a bike. And I think a lot of people can agree with this, is because you're consciously already going through a turn. It's already happening. You're focused on the turn. Yes, of course, because it's happening right now in the moment. But at the same time, you need to be planning ahead because things move so quickly. If you're not planning ahead, as soon as you get through that turn and your eyes aren't up looking forward at that next turn or that next spot on the trail or the next spot on the track, you're already lost. You put yourself into a disadvantage because you're not prepared for what's to come. You're so focused and stuck on where you're at, and then it brings you down and it makes you crash.
Yeah, for me, like, that's a big thing with trail riding. I haven't got it down with, like, on tracks yet, because on tracks I get stuck in corners. Like, I just look down, especially at ruts, and it messes me all up, and it's just something I got to break. But something I learned big on trail riding is when you look up, you already have, like, I already picked my line of, like, the rocks I'm going to jump off. Like, my lines where I see that's a smooth rock where I can jump off that and, like, be smooth through this whole straightaway into this corner. I'm looking ahead, and I'm already saying, like, okay, I'm going to hit that one, I'm going to hit that one. Before I'm, like, 20 feet back.
You already see your target line.
Exactly.
You already know exactly where you're going to be.
But when I focus on those boulders, I'm just focused on those boulders, I'm all fucked up. I'm all over. I'm
because
inconsistent.
then the next one comes, oh, fuck.
You're
Then
not-
the next one, oh,
you're
fuck,
not ready.
oh, fuck, oh, fuck, you're down.
And then what's funny, too, is so me and Andy went riding yesterday.
Yeah,
and
riding. Fucking.
So I loaded up my bike yesterday, and the rear master cylinder took a shit, so I had no rear brakes. I was like, fuck, I'm still riding. I was like, once I decide to do something, I want to do it. Like, I don't want to ruin my whole day now because I really want to go riding. But I started letting it get to my head where I was just thinking of all the negative. Like, my focus was just on all the things that could go wrong. Like, what if I fucking...
Man, I don't got rear
I don't
brakes,
have...
and I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. I'm not going to be able to do this. This.
Yeah.
I can't. I'm a fucking loser.
That whole time I was fucking riding, I was in my head, and, like, we were going, we're probably like 10 minutes in, and, like, I was finally like, yo, dude, stop fucking looking down, stop focusing on, like, you think you're gonna crash, you think you're gonna crash, you think you're gonna fuck up. And, like, literally, as I started catching myself, like, yo, dude, you're good, like, you don't need the rear brakes, you're fine. I come around the corner, eat shit, the bike slides out of under me, I break my clutch over completely off the bar, so, like, I don't even have a clutch anymore. And that was it for riding. That was wrap. We got the ride for 10 minutes. I had to bring my bike back out of the woods. Andy went and got his truck, and that was it. But, like, it literally happened because my focus was on what could go wrong. And, like,
and the whole day.
The whole day. Within 10 minutes, we were fucked.
And it sounds crazy, dude. Like, you're like, how the fuck can you possibly just switch your way of thinking and not focus on something that's obviously happening? Because obviously you didn't have rear brakes, but it ended up being your downfall through the entire course of the day just because you allowed one bad thing to just
I
snowball effect.
I couldn't get off my mind, bro. I was
yeah.
like thinking like, dude, I'm gonna eat shit. I'm gonna bounce off a rock, break an arm. Like the dumbest shit going through my mind, and I'm creating these things
Dude,
instead of being like,
it hasn't
but it's
happened
legit.
yet. So why are you thinking about that? Could it happen? Yes, but who the fuck are you to think about why that's going to happen or why that should happen, right?
That's solely,
why not think about the best possible outcomes?
The reason that day went to shit was solely because of where my mind was. My focus was on, like, I'm going to enjoy this ride. Like, I don't need real brakes.
But
I'll figure it out.
most people wouldn't say that.
Yeah.
Most people wouldn't accept that. They would say, no, the reason the day went to shit because it was already shit because I didn't have a rear brake.
Yeah. It's like, no, it's fucking my fault. Like, I knew I wanted to ride, and I knew I could do it, but then I just started letting my mind go. And what's funny is, like, one question I always got asked from, like, my parents, girlfriends at the time, or, like, whoever just came out to watch, whether it be friends, whatever, was, like, when I had to start in the back or the middle of the track or something like that, at night, usually the track got dusty because you had, like, in the beginning of the day, they water the track and whatever, and it's clay, so it has a lot of moisture, it's sticky, but then at night, it starts to get dusty. And when you're in the middle of the pack or you're in the back, you can't see shit. Like, I'm talking, like, cars that are literally, my nose is a foot away from them, I can't see anything of their car, maybe just the rear bumper. So we'd be going in the corner at 110, and we're flying in the corners, and everyone's like, yo, how do you see what you're doing? Like, how do you know when to turn shit? And I'm like, honestly, I do not care that the car's in front of me. Like, I already, like, it's kind of hard for me to explain, but I already know what they're going to do.
It's like a natural ability, a trust.
Yeah, it's like I know what they're gonna do. I'm looking through their cars, like I'm looking through them, and I'm like,
you know what you have to do, regardless
I can make
what they are doing or what they have to do.
I can make
you know what you have to do.
I can make the correction on my own. Once we go in the corner, if they get on the brake a little bit sooner than I thought, whatever, or they kind of slip up, whatever, they hook a little too hard, I can make the correction with the car, with the gas and the brake and the steering wheel. I could do all that, but like, my biggest thing I always said when I race is I do not overthink. Like, I do not think you can't worry about what's going to go on.
Well,
I have one job.
What do they teach you in racing school? If you're about to crash and hit the wall, don't focus on the wall. Focus down the track where you want to go. And 9 times out of 10, good racers who are able, you see like the craziest saves, right? You think it's done, it's over, they're fucking crashing into this fucking wall. They save it and they keep it fucking going. Because what do? They have 2 options in that moment. They lose control, they start to get scared, they start to overthink possibly, and they look at where they don't want to go.
They steer right into it.
Then what happens? You end up following where your eyes
where you're looking,
and boom, you're in that fucking wall.
I used to dodge so many cars, like, when I raced, and because, like,
it just happens. It's just natural.
It's just, and I honestly, like, it's crazy when I think about it. I don't even remember how I did it, or even when I get in the car, I don't think about it.
Them.
Bro, it's like you tap brakes, you use gas, like you correct the car.
You don't remember how the fuck you did it. You don't even think about doing it. It's just like it's that conscious competence. It's that unconscious competence.
You already know how to do it,
which is like tying your shoe.
Yeah,
we got to relate this to basic terms that everybody can understand. When you first started tying your shoe, you thought about it every single time. You did it in the beginning because why? You were learning it. You really didn't know it yet, but you knew how to do it if you thought about doing it. So that's what we call conscious competence. So you're consciously thinking about something that you can do, you know you can do. But to get to a point of excellence in any area of life, like Sean in his car, it was that unconscious competence where he didn't have to think about how could you possibly think that quickly about exactly what you needed to do to get around a car that's crashing so that you didn't crash. It's impossible.
If I had to think about tapping the brake and then tapping the throttle and steering a certain way, I would already hit the car. There's literally no thinking process to it. It is already,
have time.
My mind already knows what to do. I'm looking at where I need to go, and that's it. It almost handles itself, but it's me handling without me even unconsciously handling it.
Because you trust your driving abilities, because you became so consciously competent in driving this car in these situations, under these conditions on a dirt track. You knew, and then it became unconscious competence. You didn't even have to think about it. You just, no matter what, you knew your goal. Your end goal was to win that fucking race, right?
Yeah.
That's what you were focused on. Being out front, being the fastest, and winning that race at all costs. That's all you worried about. That's all you cared about. And you let your skills do what you knew. Obviously, you couldn't. The first race you ever raced, you couldn't do that.
No, I raced since I was 8 years old, so
exactly.
It took a long time.
So that's what we don't want people to forget either.
Yeah.
It took you years and years and years of practice to get to a level of unconscious competence where he could just say, I know I need to win. It's time to fucking win. I need to get to the front of the pack. That's all he had to think about. And then his actions followed suit because he had already programmed all his actions prior. How many times did you crash? How many times did you spin out? You know what I'm saying?
Dude, yeah. I
And
mean,
you
my
learn
first
from
time,
that.
when I raced when I was 8 to, I want to say 14 in quarter midgets. And then from there, I went from quarter midgets, like a little fucking, little ass car with a Briggs & Stratton 5 horsepower motor that like we obviously built. So they ended up making like 40 horsepower, whatever. So they're little rippers. Don't get me wrong. But I went from racing those to at 14 years old, I got in a late model, full-size car with a fucking Chevy small block V8. And my first time, it took me like 6, 7 races until I started really getting comfortable in that car.
Dude, because you just jumped from a 40 horsepower car to a 400 horsepower car.
And what was nuts, dude, is when I first went out, I was overthinking things. I remember this because I was young as shit, dude. I went to Tennessee. When I was 14, I went to Tennessee to drive a late model for the first time. My whole family lives out in Tennessee. And my uncle actually used to have a racing background. He had a friend that I think that he worked with that raced late models. So he's like, yeah, dude, like the guy just wanted, like down south are different. So like he wanted, like he didn't give a fuck if I even wrecked his car. He just wanted me to learn. He was pumped that I was so young and I wanted to like race these cars. So we went out to a track, bro, and the first probably 3 times I went out. So it was like a practice day. So we got like, say like 10 minutes out on a track at a clip. First time's like, dude, like I sucked. Like I was overthinking everything. I was overthinking. Then I started like, I just literally, before I went out, the one time I went out, I'm like, yo, dude, this is how you drive your quarter midgets.
It's the same
I
shit.
remember how I drive my
same
quarter midgets.
shit.
I remember how I set up the corners and everything. Went out there, consciously thought about it the first few laps, like, this is how I race a quarter midget.
And this is the same
drove
shit,
it,
just
and then all of a
different-
sudden, it was like, I'm in a bigger quarter midget. I drove
That's
it exactly the same, and I started ripping. And like literally, like, my uncle and shit, after I started getting good again, and the third time I was going out, I was ripping. And he's like, bro, I can't believe like the amount of progress you made in just like the one day. I'm like, I mean, I was too young to really know now, but now that I look back at it, it was like because I
understand how you did it.
Yeah, I just
now.
made
It's
the
fucking-
connection. I was like, so for a little bit consciously, I'd be like, yo, you're in a big quarter midget. Thought about it, and then all of a sudden, it just came back naturally.
But the basics are the same. That's why they put you in the smaller, slower car first.
Yeah.
To learn those basics, and then you just carry over the basics to a new field. That's like, James, think about somebody opening a business. If somebody opened a business on a small scale, say it's like a lawn care business, right? You're still doing everything you need to do to run a successful business, but yet you're scared to take that next step and step into something maybe bigger or something more that you know you could possibly do, but you think you can't because there's more money involved, there's more people involved, it's harder to do.
Right.
No, you did all that shit at the lower level at your lawn care business. You figured out how to get customers. You figured out how to make money. You figured out how to get the equipment, hire people, all that, right? It was just on a smaller scale. So you trusted yourself on a smaller scale. You learned the basics there. You know what you have to do. And now it's just a different situation, but it might be a little bit more intimidating because it's a bit bigger and there's more moving parts to it. But the basics are still the same. Everything that you already did in that small business can be transferred over to run a massive business. It has to be transferred over. It's the same steps.
Right.
And people think otherwise. They're like, no.
Well, knowing
But
that,
no.
they should feel comfortable. Just apply what you already know to
But
the
they're
next situation,
overthinking.
and
Yeah.
you'll be good. I mean, it's the same, but like you said, you just have to focus on what you're doing and not focus on the bad stuff. Like, you want to grow, you're gonna be focused on, what could go wrong, what's this, what's that, and you should be focused on, all right, well, I could get this much money from the bank, or I could get double that much. I mean, who knows? Like, focus on the good stuff, focus on the next good step, and you'll get there. But that's the crazy part. We're not saying that it's easy. Like, I know Sean didn't just jump in racing, and he was like where he got to the next day. Like, it took hard work. Like, it took hard work and constant focus on what he wanted to get to a point in which he felt comfortable, or where he is now, or whatever it is. And that's what we're trying to say. You have to constantly focus on the good stuff and the right stuff to get to where you want to be.
Develop those habits
and develop
needed.
that good focus habit, and
Yeah.
not, and leave the bad stuff at home, or not even at home. Just get rid of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Now, yeah, real quick, I just lost it too. I wanted to say something, give the mic back to James. Shit. Go ahead, keep talking. Fuck.
No, so, but with that being said, everything comes back, like focus can come back to everything. Any aspect of life, sport, personal, business, all that. It all relates.
it's all the same.
It's all the same
It's all-
guidelines.
like,
So
that's
that should really help you, if anything, because
it's simplifying.
because
it.
it makes it easier to apply to other things when you can relate them or understand them.
Like kind of try to think of an area in your life that you may have focused correctly and you've got results in. So everybody's going to have a different answer to this. A focus in my life that I got results on was lifting. My lifting career, I was skinny as hell, 130 pounds at 6'4", and I hated it. I was self-conscious. But while lifting, when I was in the gym in those beginning 6 months, that beginning year when I was still lifting but a scrawny little fuck, was I focused every time I went in the gym? Yo, you're a scrawny little fuck. You know, you're never going to get to where you want to be. Look at yourself now. I mean, there were days where, yeah, that shit fucking, like, I would look at myself in the mirror and I'd be sick about it. Like, I'd be like, you're still a fucking skinny fuck. You've been doing this for fucking 2 months. What the fuck is this worth? But, dude, 2 months wasn't enough time. So I kept saying to myself, no, if you stay persistent, you stay focused, and you continue to focus on that goal, looking like a sexy motherfucker, six-pack abs, ripped big, 200 pounds, like where you want to be, you're gonna get there. Like,
yeah.
and that's what I did. That's what I stayed focused on, dude. 3 years later, I've been lifting for like I would consider it like a solid 3 years consistently. Obviously, I fell off a little bit with COVID just because everything, gyms closing and stuff like that, and I made excuses because I said I couldn't work out at home, whatever. But I still was focused on where I wanted to be in my mind and who I had the potential to be. And now I look at myself in the mirror and I see that fucking person.
And that's actually what, when he was saying before, and I lost my train of thought, was nowadays we tend to focus on the process in such a negative point. Like when he said that I didn't just hop in a car and I was amazing at driving, it took years and years of driving. And same thing with training, whether it's me, whether it's Andy, whether it's James, it takes time. Like, it takes patience. It takes, like, results do not happen overnight. And that's something that is kind of a lost thing nowadays, where we just think we need instant gratification. Like, we're so used to it.
Let's talk on this instant gratification
right,
thing.
you can't skip the process. There's a fucking process.
But what gets lost in today's society is this instant gratification thing. We live in a society nowadays where almost everything we want is at our fingertips and we get it instantly. Like, think about it. Rewind 25 years ago. If you wanted to see a movie, you couldn't just fucking go to your TV and order it and bang, it was there right away. It's instant gratification now.
Yeah.
Back then, you didn't have that instant gratification. You had to wait. You had to look up movie times. You had to figure out a time you could go actually see the movie, take time out of your day. If you didn't have a license because you were too young, you had to plan it with your parents or somebody else's
You had to
parents
save up the money because you were young.
You had to save up for money, something like that. So they were like, just through the daily process of life, they were never shown that sort of instant gratification thing. When in today's world, dude, we can send money at the split of the snap of fingers. We can get movies at the snap of fingers. So it's almost like you're being clouded in your mind by the convenience of life now. Those things were meant to make your life more convenient, not to limit you in your thinking of making everything be instantly gratified.
Well, yeah,
you know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna relate this back to something personal for me, and like obviously you'd have to pull it apart and apply it to your own. But for me, bodybuilding, that was a huge issue for me. Is that I'm 23 now. And I started bodybuilding when I was 19, and the best bodybuilder in the world right now for classic physique, C-Bum, I want to say he's 24 now. So me, this whole time growing up, like I'm falling a year behind him, and this dude's a pro. This dude's already he's on Olympia stage at 23, 22, whatever it was. So something for me, and I feel like it happens a lot on social media, we follow the things we are passionate about. We follow, like, if you're in a racing, you follow a lot of racing shit. So you'll see somebody like that. Somebody that's either younger you. Yeah, that's what I'm saying, is you'll see somebody that's either younger than you or around the same age, and they're so much further than you. So you're like, fuck, this is taking too long. This is taking too long. And then you start second guessing yourself. You start overthinking things, and that's something that was big for me in bodybuilding. I was 145 pounds when I was 19. My biggest yet was 260, and I was never comfortable in my own skin because I didn't think I was far enough yet. And I never sat there and realized I put over 100 pounds on, not pure muscle, but like when I was 260, I was probably like 12% body fat. And when I was 145 pounds, that was my first ever show. So I was lean. So it wasn't pure muscle, but I put on at least 70 pounds of muscle in 4 years. But I never sat back and like appreciated that. I was always thinking in my own head, I wasn't far.
Bad. You know,
it fed me, but it was also a demise. You got to
you and push you, but it can, if you let it,
Yeah.
like you said, be your demise. It can be the one restricting factor that's like, dude, it's an age, bro. We all go through a course of life differently.
Yeah.
We all go through experiences differently. I don't care if you're fucking 17. I don't care if you're 22. I don't care if you're 28. I don't care if you're 35. Stop comparing your life to somebody else's because
the upbringing was completely different.
And your timeline's completely different.
Yeah.
The way you're learning versus their learning is going to be completely different.
That doesn't make them better than you.
And that's the social media era that we live in. We constantly compare ourselves to people. Like, it's one of my biggest downfalls. Like, I constantly see people, I'm like, dude, like, people that I look up to, let's say somebody, not necessarily like look up to, people that I'm like, yo, like, that's the kind of life I would want to live. Because one of the best questions to ask yourself is, who do you listen to? Who do you watch? Because that's based on what you're surrounding yourself around on a social media platform, not just in real life. You can surround yourself with people you want to be like. So I see people like, I don't know, TJ Hunt. TJ Hunt's 26 years old, and dude, he just built a brand new custom house. He's well known, well established on YouTube, tons of followers on Instagram and stuff like that, this and that. But dude, his course of his life was completely different than mine. Mm-hmm. He didn't go through the shit I went through. He picked up, and he was taught things differently at a certain age. I don't know the background, but then I'm in my head saying, dude, he's fucking 26. He's a year older than me, but he's already got this, and this. And who am I to compare myself to somebody like him?
And that's the crazy part too, is that's what I was trying to get at, is that we look at these people and then we think we can't do it because we're not there yet, but we just have to put the time in.
And then you just killed your dreams, bro.
You killed your dreams.
You cut yourself off. Nobody, and you're blaming everybody else. But realize that when you did that, you told yourself in your mind, you limited yourself in your mind that it wasn't possible because he's only a year older. No way I'm going to be able to do all this in a year.
Right there, your focus switched. Your focus
is
from
on the wrong
ambitious
things.
Young kid or whoever you are, the ambitious person that wanted this goal, and then your focus switched because you saw someone younger doing better than you, and you're like, fuck, obviously I can't do it because he's already making it, and
it has nothing to do with it. Has nothing to do with it.
It really comes down to yourself. For me, this is relatable because, like I had mentioned when we introduced ourselves, growing up probably until, I don't know, sophomore year, like I was like made fun of, and I would just call it torture. Why I was just the kid that people picked on, I guess. But that, like, through like your brain picks up and memorizes shit. And it creates neural pathways to do things a certain way. So for the longest time, like part of my life up until like, I'm not going to say recently, but the last like 5 years, that shit stuck with me so much that it didn't allow me to progress like any further because I was doing that. Like I let it be my demise, which I don't anymore. Thank God. I'm glad I grew out of that. But I was always worried about what everyone else thought because everyone, like when I was growing up, everyone always had something to say about what I was doing, what I was wearing, how I shot the basketball, how I did something. So like when people start doing that to you, you start to like question every little thing you do, and you live your life differently. Like, and then after a while, like noticing that, and like shout out to my brother, fucking, because like he tells me the shit I don't want to hear, because like I talk to him like about this shit, and he's like you just have to let that shit go, and it really is that easy, but at the same time it's not.
You say it's that easy, but let me ask you a question. How many years did you deal with it, and did you struggle with it before you finally started to make groundway on it and use it to your advantage?
Right.
Years, right?
Like, dude, 10 times as many, like, let's say fucking my whole school career up until I was a sophomore.
Years, bro.
Years.
So when we're telling people this right now, and we're saying it is that easy, it's only that easy for us because we've dealt with this stuff for years. So if you're just starting this journey now, realize that it's going to take years of reprogramming, conscious reprogramming. And it's only until recently that you've been consciously doing this, knowing that it can benefit you. Prior to those years before, you weren't doing it consciously. It was just slowly kind of snowballing, and you were working up the confidence to believe in yourself.
Right.
But you weren't consciously doing it.
Right.
You were just kind of subconsciously doing it because somewhere deep down you knew something was right if you stayed on course and trusted yourself and believed in yourself.
Exactly.
You know?
Like, what it comes down to is me. Like, who cares what anyone thinks?
But it took you so long to get there.
So long to get there. Like,
yeah.
Who cares about this? Who cares about that? Who cares what this person thinks? Like, I just want to be happy, and that was the ultimate goal. And realizing that none of these other people have it fucking figured out either. Like, once I realized that, it was that's the fucking sky's the fucking limit, the moon's the limit, the space is the limit. Like, once I realized that and started being like, all right, I like what I like, and if you don't like it, fuck you, keep it fucking moving. Like, you don't have to like me.
Yeah, even if you like it or not, it's not like you're benefiting me by telling me I'm right or wrong for it.
Right.
And like, the fact is that it is easy. It's all up to a choice. Whether you want to be uncomfortable.
You know what I'm saying?
It's easy, but you get uncomfortable, and that's the part that's hard. So the choice is all yours.
You gotta get used to
no
that
matter what
feeling.
you want. Yeah. So going back to what James is saying, like, I feel the same way as him, and I actually look up to Andy and James now for is seeing them interact in the way they handle themselves. I look up to it because I'm a very introverted person, and I don't want to be introverted. I see people that are introvert. I want to be outgoing. I want to be enthusiastic. I want to not overthink things. So my whole life I've kind of been that way where I stay quiet because I'm almost afraid to speak the way I want to speak because like I feel like I'm gonna make a fool of myself, whatever it may be.
Dude, I did it for years.
And it's something that like
years.
Yeah, where I see you guys, I'm like, fuck that. Like I just need to just start speaking. Like when I speak, be like, yo, what I have to say is important. If you're not gonna listen,
years
I don't
of
give
practice for me to get to where I've been. Like I've been struggling with the same thoughts you're struggling with now. I've been struggling with for years.
That's the thing. The choice is so easy. It's either you choose to be better, you choose to become the person you want to be and get uncomfortable,
and you have that,
or
choice.
you choose not to and you stay the way you are. So it is easy. The part that's hard is getting uncomfortable, which really isn't that hard. You're just uncomfortable. You can do it. It's all up to you.
It feels wrong, but it's not wrong. Like
it's not wrong, and what it is that
feels wrong because
and bringing it back to our topic
of focus
is you're focused. I was focused on everyone else thinking badly about me when I should have been focused on, well, why do I care what everyone else thinks? I feel good. Like, that's what I should have been focused on. I should have been focused on what if this does go right? What if, this is going to happen? That's what I should have been focused on. You know what I mean? But I wasn't. I was focused on...
But when you were focused on all the bad too, what did you get? All bad things.
That's what I'm saying.
So
I got more. I got made fun of more. I got
where this
more
law
of what I was so worried and
mind
focused
is a
about.
magnet type of thing comes into
attracted
play.
to me, right? Because I was just so focused on all the bad shit, and so focused on doing one thing, and so focused on not me. I was just so focused on everyone else that's what I was getting. I was literally getting people focusing on me.
And you were the one doing that.
I was bringing my own fucking demise, and I should have changed. I mean, I'm glad I'm changing it now. But
dude, it's hard because it's like what's the one question I ask you guys all the time? I'm like, why in the world would the one thing that God gave us complete and total control over be our thoughts? That is the only thing. Break it down. For 1 second, break it down completely. What is the only thing in this entire world, everything that you have control over? Your thoughts.
Everything comes from a thought, no matter what you do.
Which is your body, your actions.
Yeah.
Your body movements and your actions come from your thoughts. So that's the one thing you have control over. Why is that? Ask yourself that question. Ask yourself it a million fucking times. It's a question I ask myself every day. Why is that the only thing he gave us control over? Why? There's reason behind that.
Look back at all the experiences you've had in life, whether they be good or bad, and look at your thought process while those things are happening or before they happen, and you'll see your answers. Like, you either held, like, when I was killing it in bodybuilding, I was fucking confident. I was like, yo, dude, I'm doing shit no one else will fucking do, and I'm like, I literally told myself, I'm a fucking savage. I'm a fucking savage. And the craziest part was I was always so insecure to say I was a bodybuilder when I was 145 pounds because I looked like a little shithead. But that was when I was probably the hardest worker that I ever was because I want to prove people wrong and shit like that. But even when I was the smallest, didn't look like a bodybuilder or anything like that, my mind was my strongest. And then as I got bigger and I should be getting stronger in my mind, I started getting weaker. I started overthinking things. I started for some reason doubting myself. And that's the crazy part is when we talk about for me being introverted and James and stuff is situations where we're thinking about we don't want to embarrass ourselves. We end up embarrassing ourselves because we're sitting there focusing on embarrassing ourselves. We're thinking about saying.
So what are you thinking about?
When it comes to public speaking that's something I want to get fucking good at because I've always sucked at it. I've always been very, almost I would say insecure about getting in front of a big group of people and talking. You know why? Because I think I'm going to stumble on my words. I think I'm going to lose. I think I'm going to lose my train of thought.
You do.
And then I won't know what to say, and that's what fucking happens. It doesn't matter. If I have the best fucking speech ever, I have it written out. My mind, I have a very creative mind, and I know this. But my issue has always been taking my thoughts and saying them the way I want them to come out. And the reason it's always been an issue is because I focus on fucking it up.
Yeah.
So that's been a main thing when I watch these two do this shit that they do, and when we talk, and we have these discussions, and they tell me about shit they've done. I try and pull things that they talk about and program it for things that will help me. So whatever it may be, I try to use their examples and put it in my life and be all right, this is what I need to do to help me in this situation.
But that's why I'm telling you to try to look at other aspects in your life that you have success in, right? It's easier to agree with something that you've already been successful in. So if you look at other aspects of your life where you've had a success for something, you can say yo, during those times, this is how I thought, and this is what led to success. Let me try to use these basic principles that got me here. Let me figure out what those basic principles are that got me here to this goal and use it for a completely different goal. You're not doing the same exact things, but the basics are still the same. When you break it down and you think about it, it's still...
Right, and it's funny you bring that up because I was going to bring up the fact that, I started doing vlogs. Now, that's something I probably would have never did. Probably ever. Thank God we started this because that's what really led me into doing my own vlogs. Was, doing ours, creating our content, just doing it. And now, and in the beginning, it felt funny. I would go out, pointing the camera at myself, feel
Dude, so insecure.
It's I don't know.
What are people thinking about me? I'm that guy with
I
the
feel
camera.
stupid, whatever. And then,
But you're thinking that.
But I'm thinking that. And then,
and you have control over those thoughts.
Yeah.
And in that same time period, I went from well, who the fuck cares? You're probably won't even see half these people again anyway. Just do your thing. So, then after doing the first one, I sent it out to a bunch of people and I got confidence back from it, and I was just focusing on that. All right, a bunch of people like it. If a bunch of people like it,
that means more will.
Billions of people will like it. So I'm just gonna keep doing it, and then the next one got better, and then I just kept doing it. And so now instead of focusing on the possibilities of what might happen or what could happen or who might like it, I just focus on everyone I fuck with, everyone I talk to, everyone that's been involved, everyone loves it. And if that's the only people that I affect or change or give happiness to, then so be it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm going to focus on.
It's simple, but it's not.
Yeah, going back to digging back to your success, that was something that I talked to you guys about this year. Like I said, these past 2 years, I haven't been the same person, and I always was how the fuck did I do the things I used to do? And one question I asked myself, and I got the answer really quick, was, it sounds stupid, but okay, I'm young. I've always dated older girls, and I've dated older girls that were wanted in the gyms by older dudes that were bigger than me, whatever it may be. So I fucking wanted to know the answer, why did they choose me over these other guys? And I came to I finally got the answer. I forget how. I think I talked to one of them, and they kind of just explained it. They saw that I was driven, shit like that, and whatever it may be. But at a young age, I held myself different, so it didn't matter my age and stuff like that. And then another question I had is people always think I gave myself the name the Golden Boy, but actually my best friend, fucking Foster, gave me that name the one time. And during the same time that I was wondering about the shit, I asked him, I literally have to look at the text messages to remember exactly what he said, but I screenshot it because I was I never want to forget that, because I was bro, what did I do that made you call me the golden boy? Like, what was it about me? Because I was literally trying to figure out, I'm like, what did I fucking lose in myself? I was searching back for those answers. I was trying to find what made me successful. And that's what I was saying. I was going back to girls. I was like, not that getting the girls mattered to me. It was just the point that, like, when I thought about it, I'm like, why was I attracted? Why did these girls find me attractive back then when I was so young? I was not who I want to be. I was not the biggest dude that was trying to get with them, whatever it may be. I was like, why did they pick me over everyone else? So to me, I'm like trying to figure this out, and that's why I started asking questions. I started searching for those answers of why I was successful back then, and that was one of them. It was like, why did this kid call me the golden boy? What did he see in me? And like I said, I forget. I'd have to look at my screenshots to remember, but like he told me, and that's just something that now I'm speaking about it, I got constantly like trying to look at it, not to boost my ego, but to remember my successes, remember how my thought processes and shit, how I held myself.
They do. They help you.
Yeah, it gives me the answers what I'm looking for. It reminds me how to get back to that.
All right, so I mean, we've touched a lot on focus, so we're gonna. I want to bring a couple more things into play. I want to address some things. We got some feedback back from our last couple of podcasts, and we wanted to talk to you about possibly our delivery method. It can come across kind of harsh sometimes.
Yeah.
And I can make it sound like I'm calling people out in a sense, and I don't necessarily mean to do that, but that's just how my brain works for me. Is like I have to call myself a pussy.
So
I have to yell at myself.
Yeah.
I have to like be super hard and fucked up like in my delivery to myself to kind of motivate me to not do things I don't want to do. So sometimes when I'm giving a story or explaining something, I may
Call you a pussy.
It may slip out, and he may call you a bitch.
But I don't mean it.
Call you a pussy.
Yeah, I don't mean it like that necessarily. Like I don't know you guys. Like there's a lot of people. I don't even know who's listening.
That's just how he
you know?
speaks to himself.
That's
so
just don't lose the message in the delivery of the message, because on that, not
because we love all you guys and we want you to succeed.
Fortunately, that's just what works for me. What works for me may not work for you. You may not want to call yourself a pussy. you may not want to curse yourself out and fucking beat yourself up and fucking. I don't,
because it doesn't work for all of us.
Because yeah, some people do not. Because they cripple under those sort of situations.
Andy, you know, he tells us what we don't want to hear. He holds us accountable for things that we tell him we're gonna do and we don't do it. And you know what? Sometimes he calls us pussies.
So he calls me a bitch quite often.
Yeah, and you know, I guess,
but it works.
I guess
for
in
you
my
guys.
fact, yeah, it doesn't mind to me because I know at the end of the day, he's just trying to get me to be the best person that I can be.
And that's something I'm working on. Something I'm working on is bettering my delivery. So that was a big calling me out for that and saying, hey, look, you could work on your delivery, opened up my eyes to, oh shit, maybe like
there's a better way to do something. I just haven't seen
because
it yet.
just because it works for me, there might be a better way to present this information to you guys and get my point across rather than the way it works for me in my mind. You know, so that's what I'm working on it.
I mean, we definitely all have things we can work on and shit like that. And I mean, that's one for all of us. Like, I'm the same way when it comes to gym. I have to talk to myself like that. But I am different when it comes to like your daily things, like being more positive or like doing something that makes me uncomfortable outside of the gym. I kind of have to hype myself up instead of calling myself a bitch. Actually, the only time like I like being called a bitch about something is when Andy does it, because I'm like, fuck. Like, he like it's coming from his heart and he's calling me out. So I'm like, fuck. But when I do it to myself, I like overthink it. Like we're talking about, my focus goes to negative. But when he does it, I'm like, fuck, this kid's right. Like I'm being a bitch. Like let me get after this.
And it's so funny that like using that method, like. Example, when I'm riding my bike, like at first I'm like, yeah, you're a fucking beast, you can do this shit, and as soon as I fall, I'm like, you're such a bitch, bro, get up and fucking land that shit.
Yeah.
And it just changes completely. I don't know why, but it's just like, if you don't fucking do this shit right now, you little bitch, I'm gonna fucking fall on purpose and hurt you.
But
like,
we're not doing it to focus on ourselves as being a bitch. We're doing it to like
It's almost
like yes,
it's
it
almost
brings
derogatory in a
yeah,
way.
like we're doing it to bring focus on that the fact that we're not really a bitch and that we can do it.
I think exactly.
You know?
You're kind of calling yourself a bitch to be like, yo, I'm not a bitch. I know I can do this.
Yeah.
So stop being one.
Exactly.
Like, exactly. Yeah.
That's the point. Like I'm calling myself a pussy, a bitch right now because I know what I'm doing right here, right now. I shouldn't be, and I know what I need to do, so I tell myself I'm a pussy, I'm a bitch right now, because I know in my heart I don't want to be a pussy or a bitch.
Right.
So I'm like, if I call myself that, it's gonna make me not be a pussy or a bitch. I'm gonna go do it. Like, does that make sense?
It makes complete sense.
All right, word.
Perfect sense. I hope
All
it
right.
makes sense to everyone else.
So we're working on a delivery. Obviously, as the podcast continue, we'll get better at our delivery. We'll get better with our speaking.
I mean, and I'm sure not everyone likes this, but if you do like it, I mean, shit,
I'll
we can make a
continue to call
podcast
you a
just
bitch.
for you
Shit, yeah,
guys.
fuck.
Yeah,
I don't
Andy
mind.
could just go off and call all you guys fucking pussies for like 10 minutes straight.
I love it,
so
dude. I love it.
there might be a separate podcast for you guys.
But that's also the thing. We're also like, this is just us too. Like, we're not gonna be something we're not. Like, we're not gonna come up here and be like, hey guys, you should do this. No,
we're not gonna fluff this shit up.
Yo, that
do
was one thing I've gotten a few like comments about like our swearing, and I'm just like, yeah, we swear, and that's kind of just how I get like my emotion across. Like, for instance, if I'm excited about something, I say I'm excited about it, but then if I'm like, I'm fucking excited to do this, you can tell that I'm fucking excited. Like, I don't know how else
if
to
I'm
put
like,
it.
I'm excited to do this. I'm fucking excited to do this.
Yeah, like,
let's go. Like, that's just me. Like,
yeah,
it's
that's
not the
how
same.
that's how we what would
It's
be
just,
yeah, that's like just how we get our true emotions out. So like,
Fuck.
I can be excited about something, or I can be fucking excited. So we swear a lot when we're fucking passionate about something.
Yeah.
We swear, and it shows you how passionate we are about it. And like,
It's
honestly,
not for everybody.
yeah, it's not for everyone.
It's just
and
how
there's
we came up. It's
and
the
literally-
generation we came up in. People fucking, I don't know.
And literally, people are like, "Well, yeah, but don't you think people are going to view you differently?" I'm like,
I don't
"Okay, if they
care.
view you differently, this is how I talk. I'm not going to
the
change."
message is still
Yeah, the
there.
message-
If you
you
hate cursing that much and you can't fucking just like tone out the curse words and get the message, like, then
That's
go
on
ahead
you.
and miss
That's
the
on you,
message.
yeah.
Miss the information. Don't get anything good at it. Focus on the fucking negatives that you don't like about it, rather than pulling the good from it that you know can help you. That's on
like
you.
one big thing of like what we're about is not changing who you are.
Right.
Fucking be you.
If
Obviously,
you want
always
to curse,
look for
curse.
reason.
If you don't
yeah.
want to curse, don't curse.
If obviously always look for ways to better yourself, but don't do it to fucking please someone else.
yeah.
So like, what we're about is being you and
Yeah.
fucking accepting it and being happy with who you are.
Right, being you, like, we're fucking badass savages. We curse, we ride dirt bikes, we like fucking action sports. We don't mind getting hurt, but we also like to work hard and we want to be successful.
You
Like,
forgot we like tits and ass.
Love tits and ass.
oh,
Well, just kidding, guys.
just kidding.
I'm not kidding at all.
What do you like, boy?
But getting back to it, like, yeah, you just can't focus on all the negatives. So we curse a lot.
Pull the good out of it. That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Keep
Pull
it
the good out
fucking
of it.
simple, dude. There's good
mean,
in
we're not gonna
everything.
change.
Just stop focusing on all the bad shit.
I mean, I don't even want to say.
And I'm me. It wouldn't fucking come across the same way if I was trying to be somebody I wasn't. And the way I'm gonna get my point across the best is to deliver it the way I know how to deliver it and what works for me.
I mean, this kind of goes right into the topic we want to talk about is the validation aspect. Like, we're not looking for validation for someone of how we hold ourselves. We hold ourselves the way we like. I'm not looking to fucking get into it. I lost my train of thought. Pick me up, Eddie. Pick me up.
So we want to ask you a question, and this is something that we see a lot and that we get through all our forms of social media now. Do you need validation? No. Who do you need validation from? Do you think Elon Musk got validation when he told somebody 15 years ago that he was going to be the richest man in the world? I guarantee you every person
Probably
told him he was
laughed.
fucking crazy and laughed in his face.
Yep.
So
Yo,
he didn't,
yeah, I was saying,
He-
Elon,
he
if you
didn't-
hear this, hit us up.
Yeah, deadass. We would love to fucking talk to you, bro.
Yo,
You're
for
fucking
real.
great mind. I would love to connect with that guy. One day, soon enough, you'll see. But but basically, like, we're in this. How do I even fucking explain? We're stuck in these ways where we're constantly looking for validation.
We're
are.
focused on the wrong part of where we
Yeah.
should be looking. We're focusing on validation from people when we should be focusing on the validation from ourselves. That's the only validation
What
you should be
happens
looking
to
for.
you if you know there's something you want to do, you want to put your all in, you want to try, and you're excited about, right? But then you go searching for validation if it's the right move for you.
Dead.
Yeah, you just fucked yourself
Killed it.
because who are they, whoever you're asking, I don't care if it's your best friend, your mom, your dad, your grandma, your grandpa, they're not you. They don't think like you. They haven't gone through the same shit like you. So why are you looking to them for validation to go after something that you want, that you are confident about, right? There's your answer right there. That you
said it
want
yourself.
and you are confident about. That's it. It ends right there. Don't go any further. You don't need it.
It's so funny you say that too, because before we even came up with this idea to get us all connected and start this brand, me and you went away one weekend, and it was literally the turning point of me putting bodybuilding on the back burner and start doing shit I love again. And like, you knew who I was. You didn't know who I was before bodybuilding, but you knew my background. You knew what I really enjoyed. You saw the shit I really enjoyed, and then you saw me work out. So like, you saw that I always had to fuel the shit, and I was trying to get that validation for you. Like, I was searching for someone to tell me what I should do. And you literally that whole weekend
kept asking me, and I said, "Dude, I'm not gonna answer that fucking question."
You literally told me like, "Bro, you have the answer. I don't have the answer." I'm like, "Andy, just fucking tell me." Like,
I kept telling him, "No." And
then we finally got into talk because I didn't really ask the question. I just kind of spoke about things, and we just kind of opened up to each other. And literally, like when I went to bed that night, I was like, "I know what I need to do." And Andy wouldn't give me the answer. He just made me fucking think about it. And he made me decide. Like, I was looking
can't
for
solve your problems,
and that's what it comes down to. Like,
it's crazy.
And the problem is like,
you might. What if you have a friend who cares about? Like, let's say I'm a friend who cares about you, but I didn't think the way I thought. Right? I could have been like, "Oh yeah, Sean, you definitely got to go down this route because I think it's better for you in this." Right? Like, I could have convinced you of that day, and you would have taken my advice. You would have been like, he's a friend, he cares about me, he knows what's best for me. You would have taken my advice, but that could have been the complete and total wrong decision for you. For you. But I didn't know that. I was just trying to do what I thought was right. So a lot of people, they want to do you right, and they want to give you good advice, but without us realizing they can't answer our questions, they're only hurting us by giving us advice on what to do in life.
Right, and
it sounds, it's tough.
I think that's what you have to understand. You have to understand that only you can give yourself that kind of validation, but also like how you approach the validation can help you. Like, if I'm talking to someone about something and I have an idea, right, and I think it's a really good idea, I'm not necessarily looking for someone to validate it, but maybe not validate it. And it might hurt me, but at the same time, I'm getting ideas. Like, I'm thinking about shit I might not have thought. Like, what?
Well,
like,
you're not.
Maybe this won't work here.
You're talking to him about it to get opinions on it, to expand your thinking.
Right.
You're not talking to him about it to get a yes or no answer.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The validation has to be understood that it's through you only.
You've already validated that you want this.
But discussing this thing
to open up your mind
is good, but don't let that person's opinion affect your decision on it, because you still want it, but they might have a fucking point,
which most people do,
but that can help you.
Exactly.
Most of the time that helps you, but don't let it deter your validation of what you want to do.
Like, you know, if James is like, "Yo, Andy, I'm gonna start doing this, and that," and I'm like, "Yo, I don't really think that's a good idea because of this, and this."
I'm still gonna do that shit.
But you're still gonna do that shit because you know now. You're like, "No, motherfucker, I'm confident." Like, and this is something that I've always struggled with, because like, I'm confident in a lot of things I do, but then I get called out. "Oh, Andy's an overconfident dickhead. Andy fucking doesn't think about anybody but himself," and this. That's not it. I just know what I'm comfortable with. Like,
and then like it weighs on you, obviously, where you're like kind of overthinking. And you're like, so then you stop being yourself.
And then,
you start calming down. But that's not you, dude.
I start to conform to what they want me to be.
Focus on that.
And I lose focus on what I know I should be and want to be, because I'm worried about how somebody else is thinking of me, because I used their opinion on it to validate my way of thinking.
Yeah.
Like, that's
and dude,
wrong.
like, if anyone actually knows who you are, you don't come all fucking cocky at all. Anything like I said, bro, you motivate us to do shit all the time, because the way you carry yourself, how passionate you are about shit, you're like, fuck, this kid's right. It's not that he's cocky. Like, there'll be shit he's never done before, whether it's with a dirt bike or whatever. He's like, I'm gonna fucking do it, and I'm gonna do it fucking great. And he's gonna fail a million times, but he knows he's gonna fucking do it. But that's not cocky. That's just being Like, that's just knowing that he's going to keep going after and getting it. He's not being cocky. He's just confident in himself that soon he's going to be great at it.
And my abilities, that I have what it takes to execute.
Bro, I honestly feel like most people that are going to sit there and be like, oh, you're cocky, it's because anyone that's talking any sort of shit, it's because they're insecure about some things. So they might see you carrying yourself that way, and they're like, fuck, like
I want to be like that.
I want to be like
I'm not like that.
So I'm gonna make it seem like it's wrong.
Let me call him out for it.
Yeah. And then it'll give me validation to myself
up,
that I don't need to be like that, even though I want to be like that. You know what I mean?
Dude, big. Yes. Fuck. Right there. Wow.
Hit the fucking nail on the head.
Think about that.
So this, this
about
is something
that.
I call myself
Wow.
out all the time too, because like
rewind that and replay that.
There'll be some times where I'm in a negative state of mind and I have to call myself out because like for some like just any dumb reasons, like for the past whatever couple of years I hung around the wrong people that might gossip or whatever. So it's something that I've been breaking where if I see somebody doing something, I get almost like, fuck, they're killing it, and I get kind of mad at it. Like I kind of like talk shit in my head. I'm like, nah, check yourself, dude. Like you're just being insecure for whatever reason.
Like you deep down, like that's one of the hardest things for me too, because deep down, like I want everybody to win. So sometimes I have to check myself just on the way I've been, like just being surrounded by these people, these fucking. Like they hate on people that actually get success.
I know.
It's fucked with my mindset.
It's fucked
but
up.
like deep down, like when I see people winning, I'm like, fuck yeah, I want to see you winning because that makes me have more hope to the fact that I can continue to win and I can continue to do more and I can continue to be better. But we live in a world today now when we see people winning, rather than it motivating us, fuck yeah, I can do it too, he did it, we're like, fuck that motherfucker. Why does he have this shit?
Exactly.
Fuck
He must be-
like,
Like,
what did he do to fucking get there? What fucking shit did he fucking who did he fucking do dirty? How
or
did
like,
he
if
cheat?
it's-
Like what?
Yeah.
What?
I like that. I like that one. Like, who did he do dirty? Like, that's like
no.
the fucking classic. Like, who did he fuck over to get that kind of money? Like, maybe he just worked
No,
really fucking
that's
hard.
not- like,
Maybe he
no.
did what I did and stayed home on New Year's and fucking worked on
Yeah,
his shit
bro,
and didn't
like-
go party
like-
with his friends.
Like
I don't
flip
know,
the situation. Obviously, you've been thinking that way. Who did he do dirty to get there? You've been thinking that way for how many years?
But it's
and
because-
it hasn't served you because you're not getting anywhere.
Because, dude, you're always justifying yourself. Like, the only reason he's there. Like, for instance, like, we saw a kid popping on social media. And my first thing was, like, I'm like, how the fuck is this kid popping? Like, whatever. I've seen him, like, to me, he's very, like, kind of corny, tool baggish, but I'm sure he's a great kid. But I had to check myself right there, like
Wait
the
a minute.
reason he's fucking killing it is because how he acts, and he's being himself.
And he
And
don't
I'm
care
like,
about
I'm not
anybody
killing
else.
it yet.
He
Like,
wants
we're
to
just
see other
starting,
people
but, like,
win, and-
I literally had to check myself right away, be like, yo, dude, that's not who you are. Like, fucking congrats for that kid. He's killing it. Like,
That gives you hope. That gives you hope.
now I need to be myself and kill it the way I need to kill it to be a certain fucking prestige in life.
Yeah.
And wait, is this the same picture that we saw recently?
Yeah.
All right, so and I have a funny story about that because it was the same thing. I saw him in the gym and I was like, who is this fucking gym shark? Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's what I thought. And I was like, you know what? You're fucking wrong for that. Like, that was fucked up. Like, you shouldn't have said, and I didn't say it out loud, but I said it in my head I was like, that's fucked up. Don't ever say shit like that again. And then to come to find out, after having 2 conversations with him, like, I was like, that was fucked up. You should talk to him. That's what I told myself.
Yeah.
Just because, like, you don't know who
Let
he is.
me
You don't
figure
know
out
who he
who he
went
is,
through.
what
You
he's
don't know
about.
anything. I was just focusing on what I could see and shit like that, right? So when I actually talked to him, he was like a cool ass fucking person. He was doing cool stuff. And the other thing was he was very humble because he didn't even mention anything that we had found out through us later in the date. Like, he could have been like, oh yeah, what's
The
up, man? I do
motherfucker has
this.
almost
You make
300K
videos, I
on
make
YouTube.
videos, blah 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 blah. And,
300K on YouTube.
yeah,
That's
right.
a big deal,
That's
bro.
a huge deal. And I was
Yeah.
like, you know what I mean? He could have said all that when we had a conversation.
He
He
could've
didn't
been-
say
yeah.
one thing. We just talked about, like, quick life and shit,
The-
and, like,
the first
how we're
time-
trying to get to our goals. Like, who would have thought? No, you know what I
The
mean?
first time he talked to us, he literally came up to me and Sean. And he was like, "You guys we were fucking lifting legs that day, and we were fucking killing ourselves." And he walked up to us, And he was like, wow, you guys make me feel like a bitch. And I was like, yeah, because you are. Because I was just fucking. I was just, dude, I was in a fucked up mind. I was just like, I was in that work mindset. When people like call themselves out, I'll just fucking like.
He'll feed into it.
Yeah, yo, bro, if you come up to me and you call yourself a bitch, I'm gonna be like, all right, yeah, you are a bitch. If you're fucking accepting it right now, I'm being like a bitch. So
but like,
I was like, yeah, you are. And I walked away.
Where did
where
these negative thoughts we had come from? They came from our insecurities. This kid's fucking killing for a reason, and that's it. Like, we started thinking this way because we had these insecurities, and I think this is definitely something we're gonna have a future podcast on, like solely just this topic about why we think a certain way about certain situations and we get negative about them, and kind of digging deeper to find those answers and be like, all right, I'm insecure because of this reason, and I need to start catching myself and changing my thought process behind things. Because honestly, like, we want to see everyone win. Like, that's just something. Like, we're not out here to be better than anyone else. We're out here to do what we want to do and be successful in life, and we want to bring as many people with us that we can. So I think it's definitely something we'll talk about in the future for sure.
Yeah,
and get
we
more
got
into
a lot
detail
of more
with it.
shit to talk about, so we'll get there. One thing I want to touch on, I was reading a book the other day, Delivering Happiness. Tony Heisch, he was the CEO of Zappos, which Amazon bought for almost 200 million or something. It was crazy, but really successful dude, and his book's really cool. Because fuck Amazon. But his book's really cool because you have to read it. But even in his book, like when he intros the book, he literally says, and he didn't get a ghostwriter to write this book, and he says that, and he talks about why he didn't get a ghostwriter to write his book is because he wanted it to come across as like him truly speaking it. He purposely like fucked up his grammar so it sounded like a person speaking, and didn't correct it so it felt more real. And in the one part of the book, he goes into a story about how his friends that he was hanging out with at the time, I think he was like 24 or something at the time, wanted to go to a rave, and he really didn't fucking want to go to the rave because he didn't get it. He's like the music, he didn't really vibe with the music or something. And what the fuck am I trying to make a point here about? Basically, he went to the rave, and when he got there, he was all fucked up in the head saying like how fucking annoying it was. But then when he got there, he said like something came over him, and like you have to read the story. You're gonna perceive it however you perceive it in whatever mind state you're in. But the way I perceived the story that he was telling, and it was all these people in one place coming together for the same thing, enjoying the music. The DJ was in control. You were feeding off the DJ's energy, and nobody cared about anything. He's like, dude, you looked around and people were all facing the stage, all dancing. Nobody was judging each other. Nobody was worried about anything else but just feeling the good energy, the good vibes. And he was like, because of that, and because like they trusted the DJ to basically take control over the situation and make it a good time with the music and vibe with him and his energies, he said it was like a fucking blast, and it completely changed the way he viewed the music, the culture of raves, and like all like the perceived thoughts he had prior to going to it. It's kind of cool. Just check out that book. It's definitely a book
that's
I'd
right
recommend.
there. That's your focus. And I know we're coming to the end, but I just wanted to say this real quick. Is like, it's funny that you bring up music and like how you viewed it, because I was in the car the other day and we're blaring music. I'm in the back seat and I'm like, it's just music I don't really listen to. It's like old school Biggie Smalls, I think is the rapper, like old school rap. And it's just shit I don't.
You don't even know who the fuck Biggie Smalls is?
Nah, dude. I don't listen to that shit.
What?
Not that it's bad or anything. I just don't listen to it. So, like, I wasn't listening to it. I was just kind of in my own world, just like whatever. And then, like, I came to it, like, they're blaring rap. And I was like, at first I was thinking as a negative aspect. I'm like, I was like, I wonder if this is what happens when, like, people are in my car and they don't like the music. They're just kind of like, this is fucking annoying. This is super loud. But then the people that are into the music are vibing hard from it, loving it. And then, like, right then, I'm like, yo, just fucking vibe with the music. Like, listen to the words. Listen to what he's saying. He's actually saying some dope-ass shit, too.
Yeah.
And, like, I started vibing with it, and it all came down to what I was focusing on. I was focused on how his music I didn't like, or music that I never listened to that I didn't care to listen to, and then I just switched it. Like, let me see what I could get out of it. Let me enjoy this time that I'm in this car instead of being negative about it.
Feed into everybody else's energy.
Yeah.
If there's somebody near you that has good energy about something, rather than fucking like hate on them for having the good energy, feed into their good energy and try to pick up on it and kind of connect with them, you know?
That's it. Focus on the good in your situation.
There's positive.
There's a positive in everything.
Yep.
That's what you have to focus on, not the negative. You focus on the positive.
Where is your? Ask yourself that question. Where is
your-
my focus?
Go ahead, say it again.
Where is my focus?
One more time.
Where is my focus?
And
Where is my focus? All right, you got that? So where is my focus? No, but yeah, I think that was a good one. We gave you a lot of stuff, a lot of information for you to think about. Listen to it again. A lot of one thing that we can recommend you, if it's something you may not understand, you may have to listen to it 3 times. And it might sound crazy to listen to something that you don't understand again, but it's amazing how much more you can pick up when you listen to something a second, a third, a fourth, a fifth time. Think about this in an aspect of a movie, because this is the best way for me to relate it to normal people. I don't really watch too many movies anymore and stuff. But back in the day, when I would watch a movie 3 or 4 or 5 times because I really loved the movie, each fucking time I'd be like, dude, I don't remember that being in the movie, right? You just pick up on more or something like that. So it's the same thing for information, it's the same thing for podcasts and reading. There's books that I've read twice, I've read 3 times, and each time it's like a new fucking book to me.
And it doesn't even have to be something that you didn't understand the first time. You could have thought that you understood every single thing the person said at the first time, and then you listen to it again like
And
a
it's
month down the
different.
road.
Completely different.
Completely different. You
It's
pick up on
crazy.
so many things you didn't hear
And that's
before.
good.
You're like,
That
holy
means
fuck.
you're
Yeah.
evolving.
So that's
you know?
that's with anything. If you found something really useful, revisit it. If you found
Again.
something not useful, visit it a couple times and try and pick whatever you can out of it. If you can't, you can't. Like, and maybe fucking come back to it a year from now, whatever. But
So,
I think that's a good spot to end, honestly, guys.
yeah, that's a great day. We're going to plug ourselves real quick. You can reach me at It's Andy on Instagram or Andy Danchuk on Instagram. You can reach me at Facebook, Andrew Danchuk. And then you can reach us at oneoonebrand for Instagram. And then, is it oneoonebrand for the IG?
Yeah, it's
And
101
then
brand.
our email is
101brand@gmail.com.
ONEOONE brand at gmail.com.
yeah, like the word spelled out.
Yeah.
One.
101
Yeah.
brand at gmail.com.
And then obviously you can comment on the YouTube videos and with any questions, any whatever, criticism, whatever it may be. You can reach me at the_goldenboy_fry on Instagram, and really that's the only platform I really use right now.
You can reach me on Instagram at Jack Blames, as well as YouTube at Jack Blames. Staying tuned. We got a bunch of stuff coming out for you there. We're working with OneOOne. We got a bunch of stuff coming out for them as well. So yeah, just stay tuned. Keep listening. We appreciate each and every one of you. Keep writing in. Keep sending us questions. We enjoy it very much.
Yeah, we love the commentary. We love getting
Feedback.
constructive criticism and feedback, all that stuff. It's really great, even if it's from friends, even if it's from people we don't know. I've got a couple messages. Sean's got a couple messages. A couple people talk to us in person about it. And dude, honestly, the feedback's been great. And
That's how we get better.
We want to grow with you. The reason we're starting, the whole reason that we talked about in the first podcast, the reason we're starting now when we don't know a lot of shit is because we want to show you guys the process. Like, I don't know anybody. I don't
always
see
when
any
they are
platforms.
successful. It's
Yeah,
always.
you only see it at the end, and you may not believe in us right now. You may not think we're going to be successful. You may not think that our information matters or that we're saying anything good because we don't have enough to show for it. But I can tell you, I'm
Check this
25
out.
years
Yeah.
old. I own a house. I got a fucking job that I'm hopefully will make 6 figures next year. I'm damn near fucking close this year. Fucking, and I've done a lot of fucking shit.
Yeah.
You know, and it just depends on what you determine success. But if you want to wait until we have fucking multi-millions in the bank and we're doing crazy fucking shit and we're not talking about like all the beginning stages shit and we're so far advanced in our thinking
You
because
waited
of how
too
far
long.
we gone, you can wait and you can try to get information and pull information from it then. But I guarantee you'll benefit more now because this is the early stages of shit. We're still working out kinks. We're still doing stuff. It's going to be easier for you to pick up on our way of thinking now because we're not locked into a specific way yet or something. You know what I'm saying? We're not too far advanced. Like, that's like trying to like go and talk to somebody who is a master at their trade and understanding everything they said when it's your first week into it.
And the best part,
You
honestly,
know?
is that this shit will always be up. So even when we are making it 5
Yeah,
years
we're gonna
down
leave
the
this
road,
shit up.
This shit will be up.
You
So
can come back and
start
listen
from
to it
fucking
and see
episode
where we
1.
started. Yeah.
And like that's the coolest part is no one else has done that where you can go back to their day one shit when they weren't anybody and see how they got there. They're all telling us stories and shit like that, and that's great, and that kind of it's helpful, but it's way easier to kind of understand and learn when you get the stages of life.
Yeah.
And you can see where they started, and then it's easier to believe because you see that we started from literally nothing.
Nothing.
Right now we're getting 50 views on our videos, but one day we're gonna get millions, and then fucking it's gonna be different.
Yeah. So enjoy your day. Go fucking kill it. Stay focused. Love you guys.
Peace out.
Peace out.
You're never gonna make it, you're not good enough. There's a million other people with the same stuff. You really think you're different, man, you must be kidding. Think you're gonna hit it, but you just don't get it. It's impossible, it's not probable, you're irresponsible. Too many obstacles, you gotta stop it, yo. You gotta take it slow, you can't be a pro, don't waste your time no more. Who the fuck are you to tell me what to do? I don't give a damn if you say you disapprove. I'm gonna make my move, I'm gonna make it soon. And I'll do it cause it's what I wanna fucking do. Cause all these opinions and all